I'm in Tromsø! This city is located above the Arctic Circle in Norway and is the gateway to some stunning, epic scenery. I'm here to try every adventure activity I can find and show you exactly what Tromsø has to offer. From dogs to snowmobiles, skis to snowshoes, and one weird thing at the end.
This is not normal.
This here is one epic winter destination, so let's not hang around any longer. I knew I had to start this trip by learning how it all began, to meet the people who have lived here for thousands of years, the beautiful Sámi. This experience starts in Tromsø, where you're picked up and then taken on a 90-minute drive to Camp Tamok. Here you meet the reindeer and learn how the Sámi people survive in temperatures as low as -30 and even colder, using the oldest form of transport in the north, reindeer sledding.
My family has had reindeers for generations and generations. Hundreds of years almost. And my grandparents, for example, and everyone before that, lived up in the mountain all year round, lived in lavvos like this. We never have floors, of course, or benches. We just have a small fire in the middle, a hole in the roof, and reindeer skins on the ground.
After the reindeer, we returned to the camp for some warm food and to absorb all that we've learned. It was truly a great way to start my journey. But if you're after something with a bit more of a thrill, and after all, that is what this channel is all about, then look no further, because this next activity has that in spades. On the nearby island of Valøya, there is a place cloaked by winter and loud with excitement. This is dog sledding. You start by arriving the day before, where you get to meet the dogs, listen to stories and enjoy a campfire, all before wrapping up for the night inside a traditional lavvo tent. The next morning we were woken up by the howls of the dogs and the smell of a really good breakfast. But we had to give in eventually to the request from the dogs. I'm not sure if we were using them or if they were using us at this point. The rush you get from being hauled across the snow by a pack of loud, highly energetic and excited huskies is hard to explain. Your senses are captivated by the bitter cold on your face, the noises of the pack and the crushing sound of snow beneath your sled. This all thanks to Villmark Center, who brought us back alive with huge grins on our faces. Before we started, we learned about the Finnmark race, Europe's longest dog sledding race that the owners here take part in. 1,200 kilometers across the top of Europe and over 6 days long. I was tired after just 30 minutes. Can you hear that? That was amazing. Dog sledding. That was just... I just can't explain how incredible that was. The dogs had so much energy. They just wanted to keep pulling. They probably had more fun than we did. But oh my God, that was incredible. We got really lucky. It was touch and go for quite a while there, whether or not we were going to actually do this thing or not. And then the wind really picked up and it was just Arctic conditions. It was just crazy. But once you're on the sled and the dogs are pulling and it's just... You're in that environment, completely white, just black trees everywhere, the scenery, the mountains in the background, the dogs pulling, their energy, their barking. It was so much fun, so incredible. I can't recommend this enough. This is definitely the best experience I've had so far. Wow. Now, it might be hard to imagine, but there is a way to up the ante by one more notch. Stepping into the 21st century, these awesome vehicles, rip through the snow as you ride through the frozen forest. This is the ultimate way to get around this snowy, dense landscape and get one hell of a thrill out of it too. In the description you'll find all the links to these activities, where you'll find their prices and booking forms. You ride the snowmobile in pairs and switch around halfway through, taking in the landscape and immersing yourself into this vast white world. And when you've spent all of your energy, there's a warm Norwegian stew waiting for you back at camp, where you can reflect on the day and learn about Norwegian culture before heading back home. What a day! Snowmobiling in this beautiful winter wonderland. I mean, even though everything was washed out because of the wind and the snow, it was still just this beautiful, gorgeous landscape. And snowmobiling, I mean, I've done motorbiking and quad biking before, but obviously with the snow, it provides its own unique challenge. You'll definitely enjoy it. It's not hard, it's really fun, the guides were great, and Camp Tamok is just gorgeous. Yeah, what a great day. The next day I had a wander around town for a bit, taking in the sights, history and feel for the place before starting my next activity.
Today's a fairly different day than was expected. We were supposed to go 3 hours into the coastline and look for whales, which would have been quite incredible. That's why I brought my big camera actually. But unfortunately, due to the weather, that's not going to happen today.
It was interesting to learn about the local history, like the Tromsø University is the world's northernmost university, how the RAF bombed the German battleship Tirpitz in World War II, and the name Tromsø comes from the Sámi word for strong tide.
It is freezing on this ship. I don't know what was about that spike in temperature, but right now I'm getting battered by some ice wind. Still brilliant though. These fjords are gorgeous. Covered in snow, but I think it's time to go inside. I'm freezing.
Unfortunately, the entire time I was here was touch and go with some of the things I wanted to do. November had been far warmer than it should have been, and now, in December, we were playing catch up. Things like the ice sculptures were cancelled, whale watching couldn't take place, and the northern lights were hidden by clouds.
I've been walking around Tromsø for a bit now, and the roofs are generally covered in snow. And with a mixture of the wind, temperature, and the odd crow messing around up there, snow and ice can often fall down, so either wear a helmet or just keep a wide berth from the roof.
But some days, my luck changed for the better. Driving out of town through an impressive network of tunnels underneath the city, we reached the camp where the next activity was to take place. This place is so quiet and peaceful, the water is still and the snow-covered mountains tower all around you. I even try my best to paddle quietly to enjoy gliding calmly over this liquid mirror. This is an easy activity to really enjoy this pristine natural wilderness. Picked up from the city centre, provided with dry suits and warm drinks, there is no better way to escape into Norway's iconic world.
Just getting back from kayaking. That was beautiful. I mean, everything was perfect. The sea was calm, it was glassy as well, got the reflections of the mountains. There was no wind and the light was gorgeous over the mountains. But it's 2:30 in the afternoon, if you can believe that. We're actually in the polar night season right now, which means apart from a little bit of twilight in the afternoon, this is pretty much it for the day.
There's now just 3 activities left, and this next one takes us off the water and back into the snowy landscape beneath the trees. This is cross-country skiing, Norway's national sport, and a fun way to get out into the sticks. It's also how many people get around the island thanks to a network of skiing trails. If you've never done skiing before, then don't worry. This beginner-friendly course has everything you need and is taken at a comfortable pace, though you will have to rent appropriate clothing unless you bring your own. But once there, you'll learn the basics of skiing as well as walking and running with your skis, aided by these backward-facing hairs on the bottom. And seeing as I've only ever skied down a slope before, it was actually a fun challenge. Those experienced people often graduate to hiking up a mountain and skiing down with massive head torches in the dark. And although I couldn't find a way to book that, and I wish I could, I did find my next activity up upon a snowy mountain. We were taken into a remote mountainous area outside of Tromsø, with a name I will not attempt to pronounce. There, we were given the tools of the day, snowshoes. I was so excited for these, as I'd never tried them before. I wasn't sure what to expect, but it wasn't long until I got the hang of it and was able to escape into this beautiful landscape. My trip is now coming to an end, but there is one last, slightly unusual activity I've left to do. Anyone who knows me well knows I hate cold water. I mean, why would I do that to myself? But this is something found nowhere else in northern Norway, and I just had to give it a go. It's called Arctic floating. It is what it sounds like, floating on the frigid Arctic waters of Romfjord, just outside of Tromsø. Wearing dry suits, thankfully, but letting yourself bobble on the water's surface and bask in the natural beauty of the Arctic. Provided by Authentic North, this out-of-the-ordinary experience was inspired by their work in providing rescue equipment, meaning we were definitely in the best of hands. The idea of this is to be in complete darkness and enjoy the stars above. Arctic ice floating. That was truly a unique experience. You're so buoyant, you just don't really have a lot of control. It was completely surreal.
I didn't know if I was bumping into people or ice blocks. It was different. The sky was beautiful, the mountains, everything was beautiful. The camera couldn't capture it very well, but hopefully these pictures will do it some justice.
Well, that was it. My incredible week in Tromsø. This place is incredible. The scenery is amazing. The people, everybody's so outdoorsy. I loved every minute of it. Even though I had to make a few last minute changes due to the weather. But that's just what you gotta do. I hope you liked this video. I hope you found it informative and inspirational. If you did, please like and subscribe and tell a friend. It really goes a long way. Thank you. This wasn't the end of my Norway adventure though. Next stop is ice climbing in Rjukan, and then an unforgettable trip to Oslo. Check out those videos here.